Hello student, I am Dr. S.L. Munde, Assistant Professor Department of Mathematics 3, RLT College of Science, Akola. So dear student, in previous lecture we have completed unit number 3, transportation problem and assignment problem. So in this lecture we will start unit number 5th, that is game theory. So in this lecture we will see some the introduction part of the game theory unit and some basic definitions uh, in a game theory. Before going to see the definition of the game theory, we will see in introduction part. So this game theory is related to the competitive strategies, or this game theory is also called as a theory of the games, or we can say that game theory are competitive strategies and is a mathematical theory that deals with the general features of the competitive situations. So in game theory, there are so many competitor 1, 2, 2, 4, 4, and so many m or n types of competitors. Okay, so this theory is helpful when two or more individuals or organizations with competing to each other, they may be the objective of both organizations or individuals competitors to make the decisions. Okay, to make the to try to make the decision positive decision. Okay, in such a situation, a decision made by one or more of the remaining decision makers and the final outcomes depends upon the decision of all the parties. Okay, so such a situation often arises in the field of the business, industry, economics, sociology, and military training. Okay, so this theory is applicable to a wide variety of the situation, such as two players struggling to win of a chess, candidate fighting in elections, two enemies planning war factories, firms uh, firm to maintain their the market shares, launching uh, advertisement campaign by companies marketing competing product or so these are the some of the examples of the uh, applications of the game theory. Okay, so these situations differs from the ones we have discovered so far, where in the nature was used as a business approaches. Okay, so this is the some basic or the game theory. Okay, so now we will see the some characteristic of the game theories. What are the characteristic of the game theory? The competitive game has the following characteristic. What are the main characteristic of the inner games? There are first characteristic is there are finite number of the participants or a competitor. There may be the 2, 2, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, and so many. Okay, there are so many finite competitors. Okay, in a games. If the number of the participants is 2, the game is called as a two-person games. Okay. For a number greater than 2, it is called as a n-person games. Okay. Suppose that there are 2 by 2 persons. Okay, games. So suppose there are 2 by 2 persons are playing a game. So that game is called as a two-person game. And suppose are the there is a some war between two countries, so that game is both are fighting to each other, so the fighting to each other, that is called as a n person games. Okay, so fighting means there is a games between the two countries. Second characteristic is each participant knows all the possible choices available to the other but does not know which of them is going to be chosen by them. Okay, so this is a technical part of the technique of the each participants. Okay, Third is each participant has available to his a list of finite number of the possible courses offered action. The list may not be sum for each participant. Okay. Number 4, a play is said to occur when each of the participants chosen one of the courses of action available to him. The choices are assumed to be made simultaneously so that no participant knows the choices made by the other until he knows the decided his own. Okay, so each participant has a own technique or own choices. Okay, number 5, every combination of the courses to action determine. Courses means the choice of the competitor or decision of the competitor determines an outcomes which result in gain to the participants. The gain may be the positive, negative or zero. Negative gain is called as loss. Okay, so competitor there are three types of gains. Gain may be the positive type, gain may be the negative type, gain may be the zero type. Okay, suppose a negative gain is suppose there is a negative gain, so that negative gain is referred as a loss of the competitor. That means the competitor are lost the games. Okay, if suppose there is a positive gain, then we can say that the competitor win the match or win the games. Okay, and suppose there is a zero gain, that means in this case we can say that the match between the two competitor is what means cancelled due to the some reason. Okay, or you can say the draw match. Okay, number 6, the gain of the participant depends not only on his own actions but also others actions, but are but also their of others action. Okay, the gains, that means payoffs, for each and every play are fixed and specified in advance and are known to each players. So thus each player knows the fully the information contained in the payoff matrix. The player, number 8 is the player make individuals decisions without direct communications. Okay, there may be the no communications between the two competitors, so each competitor can take the own decision to win the game. Okay, so that decisions are depends on the each and every competitors. Okay, now we will see the some definitions that are included in this unit. The first definition is game. So game is defined as it is an activity between two or more persons involving actions by each one of them according to a set of rules which results in some gain. Gain may be the positive, negative or zero for each. Okay. So game is it is a activity between the two persons or more than two persons which has some rules. Under the that rule they will play the activity, they will do the activity. Okay, so if in a game the actions are determined or skills, okay, we know that each and every competitor has their own skills or own technique, it is called as a game of strategy, or it is called as a game of strategy. If they are determined by the chance, it is termed as a game of the choice, game of the chance. Further, a game may be the finite or infinite. Game may be the finite or infinite. Okay. So suppose there is a two persons, one person, two persons, four persons. Okay, or number of persons. Okay. So game may be the finite or infinite times. Okay. A finite game has a finite number of the moves and choices, while an infinite game contains an infinite number of them. Okay, so this is the choices of the game finite game. Okay, So in finite game, there may be a result, maybe the positive or negative, and infinite game the result uh, cannot be determined. Okay, maybe the positive or negative. So in another word, game can be defined in this way. Okay, it is an activity between two or more persons involving activities by each person according to set of rules. At the end of the play, each person receives some benefits or the satisfaction or loss negative benefit. Okay, so this is another word definition of the game theory. So second definition is the player. What do you mean by player? Each participant or a competitor playing a game is called a player. Okay, so in a game, each and every person is called as a player. Each player is equally intelligent and rational in approaches. Okay, we know that each and every player will use their own technique or intelligence skill. Okay, a player may be the individual or a group of individuals or an organization. Okay, so a player may be the single player, double player, okay, or in types of players or individuals or the organization of the players. Okay, what is the next definition? That is a play. A play of the game is said to occur when each player chosen one of his or course of the action. Play means the actions taken by the players. Okay, that is called as a play. Okay, strategy. It is strategy is defined as it is a predetermined rule by which a player decide his courses of action from his list of courses of actions during the game. To decide a particular strategy, the player next not knows the other strategy. Strategy means the techniques. Which steps of techniques will use the player to win the games and uh, to win the games. Okay, so that is a different types of techniques. Okay, so there are different types of strategy. First strategy is a pure strategy. What is the pure strategy? If the players select the same strategy again and again, okay, so then that strategy is called as a pure strategy. Okay, suppose one player is using a same technique and same action many times. So that technique is called as a pure strategy. In this case, each player knows exactly what the other player is going to do. The objective of the players is to maximize the gain and minimize the loss. Okay. So in this case, we know that the next person which types of strategy using again and again and again. So on this basis, the next player will take the actions to to win the match or to maximize the gain. Okay, to maximize the gain and minimize the loss. Okay, so next person will automatically identify which types of technique you are using. If you are using the pure strategy, then he will ready to catch up your each and every gain. Okay, second strategy, mixed strategy. So in this mixed strategy, the other person cannot guess which strategy you are going to play during the game. Okay, when a player uses a combination of the strategy, and each player always kept guessing as to which courses of the action to be selected by the other player at the particular occasions, then this is called as a mixed strategy. I already told you. So in this mixed strategy, the both player don't know which types of strategy will use the next person. Okay, so because they are using the mixed strategy. Okay, so first person will use the different types of strategy, then second person will use the different types of strategy at each play. Okay, so in this case, both the competitor cannot guess the which types of strategy will use the next person. So such types of strategy is called as a mixed strategy. Thus, there is a probabilities, situations, and objective of the players is to maximize expected gain or to minimize the expected losses. So both uh, players try to maximize his expected gain and to minimize his expected losses. So both player will try to maximize his their gain and minimize here their losses. So what is next strategy? That is optimal strategy. Optimal strategy means the strategy that puts the player in the most preferred position of the strategy. What is of the strategy of these opponents is called as the optimal strategy. That means the optimal strategy means those strategy the player will use. That strategy will give the more, that means the chance of the win. Okay, that means if you are playing that strategy, so that strategy will give the maximum gain and minimize the loss. Okay, so that strategy is called as the optimal strategy. So on that optimal strategy, the game of the both competitor will be decide. Game will won or loss. Some one participant game will own and another participant will lose the game. Okay, any decision from this strategy would reduce his payoff. Zero sum games. What do you mean by zero sum games? It is a game in which the sum of the payments to all the players upon the play of the game is zero. In such a game, the gain of the players that win is exactly equal to the loss of the player that lost. For example, two candidates fighting in elections where in the gain of the votes by one is the loss of the votes of the others. Zero sum games means suppose there are two persons playing games. The gain of one person is exactly equal to the loss of the another person. If you take the addition of the loss and gain, so if you get the zero addition of that loss and zero, so then that game is called a zero sum game. The sum of that losses and gain if equal to the zero, then we can say they are zero sum games. Two-person zero-sum games. It is a game involving only two players in which the gain of one player equals to the loss to the others. It is also called as the rectangular game, or it is called as a matrix game because the payoff matrix rectangular in the form. There may be the n players and the sum of the game is the zero, and it is called as a n-person zero-sum game. Okay. So this is similar as the above definition. Two-person zero-sum games means the gain and losses of the two-person may be the zero. Okay, and suppose there are n persons of two organizations of the two parties, and their losses and gain if equal to the zero, then we can say that n-person zero-sum games. Okay. Now we will see the some characteristic of a two-person zero-sum game. So what is the first characteristic? Only two players are involved. So in this two-person zero-sum games, only two persons are allowed. Each player has a finite number of the strategies to use. Okay, so there is no limitations of each player to use the finite number of the strategies to win the match or to win the game. Each specific strategy result in a payoff. Okay, so every strategy of the each player can be shown in the form of payoff matrix, result in a payoff matrix. Total payoff to the two players at the end of each play is 0. Okay, so at the end of the play, at the end of the game, okay, the total of the both player gain and loss must be the 0. So this is the characteristic of the two-person zero-sum game. Next definition is non-zero sum games. Non-zero sum game. Here the third party, for example, house or the kitty. Here the third party receives as a makes some payoff payment. A payoff matrix for such games is shown below. Okay, suppose this is the payoff matrix of the payment of the player A. The left hand entry in each cell is the payoff to A. So this is the player A and this is the player B. So this is the payoff entries of the player A and this is the entry of the player B. Okay. And the right hand entry is the payoff to the player B. Okay. So this is the entry of the player A and this is the entry of the player B. Note that for play combinations 1-1, 1-1, 2-2, the sum of the payoff are not equal to 0. Okay. Then last definition is the value of the game. It is the expected payoff to play when all the players of the games follows their optimal strategies. The game is called the fair if the value of the game is 0, if unfair if it is the non-zero. Okay, so how will you find out the value of the game? Okay, suppose the value of the game is 0, then we can say that the game is fair, and suppose the value of the game is non-zero or constant, then we can say that that game is unfair. Okay, so these are the some basic definitions in a game theory unit. So in next lecture we will see the another point of this unit number 5.